met Stevie, this your last freebie. Every time you see me, niggas better pay me. I done met Stevie, this your last freebie. Every time you see me, niggas better pay me. I done met Stevie, I done met Stevie. Yeah. And I got a crew too, 44 monkeys, jailhouse junkies, missiles and flunkies. Yeah, they won't miss you. Shoes, no tissues, prints, no issues. Freeze you in a locker, funeral with parents. Gaylord Faka, empty out the clipses. I killed your father, I take it further. Brooklyn 88 way, Sean out in VA, pushing all them T's. Malice with the wordplay, Jerusalem inside you. Book of Revelations, the devil is inside you. Islamicized you, Qabbalistic flied you. Manifest the real you, calculate and penetrate every wall around you. Violate, we drown you. Foxy, we brown you. God up inside you. Thanks you your room to. Rufus seduce you. Dare you to come through. Bushes so dangerous. Ass little vicious. Gray skull castles. I done met Stevie. This your last freebie. Every time you see me, niggas better pay me. I done met Stevie. This your last freebie. Every time you see me, niggas better pay me. I done met Stevie. I done met Stevie. Yeah.
Gold tuxedos, sunrise sorcery, whole food groceries, blunts rotisserie, poison ring circus, circuit no chitlins, everything is fiction, listen to the children, I'm hip to the helpers, behold a black and white book, rose gold furniture, meet with the minister, initiate the best part, pay all the elders, live by the lessons, comprehend and contradict, figure out the message, 8 is a section, pussy has to say so, the currency is pesos, a rapper is a deadbeat, red meat is played out, your favorite is a traitor, my musk is Egyptian, the kufi was Gucci, love it when you judge me, learn from a broke nigga, become a rich nigga, love Bill Cosby, posing in my hill figure, Jesus is platinum, religion is the industry, my passport is accurate, travel with the magic, static with the addicts, never met Stevie.
I done met Stevie, this your last freebie. Every time you see me, niggas better pay me. I done met Stevie, this your last freebie. Every time you see me, niggas better pay me. I done met Stevie, I done met Stevie. Yeah.
For the 50 years of hip hop, support the God Knowledge Born, Student Knowledge Radio, 8 years. The knowledge is the accumulation of all facts. Peace to the gods of earth.
If you love me, say you're loving me, man. Don't wait till I'm gonna say you're loving me, fam. Cause when it's said and done, then you said nothing. You gon' be wishing that you would've said something. I can't smell a tree when I'm 6 feet deep in the box with dirt thrown on top of me. Why you wanna wait till I'm not breathing to cry on my chest and tell me how you was feeling? You say I'll tell them, let them see me at my best, but you're not knowing how much time is left. You keep saying when you get around to it, but they say the same thing, so nobody ever do it. I've been through it, wishing I could take it back, turn the clock back to where we fell out at. If I could, I'd part waters like Moses and give you dozens while you can still smell the roses.
Still got love here, you thought all the love was gone. I do what my brothers do, come on with my brothers.
Yeah. We in the building, we live, we on deck. Long awaited, highly anticipated. Got my family in the building and we on deck. So if we go back in the Pantheon 15 years ago to an epic place today, we were in Bavaria, we were in Germany, and I got the honor and privilege to bring the legends over. It was a one-on-one situation. It happened and it was never done again. So it was so historical that we had to commemorate that amongst other things. So here I started this program 8 years ago, and I reached out to my brother and he agreed to do my second episode. You know, my second episode, you know, if people love you, they come through for you. You understand what I'm saying? So we literally then traveled around the world and been through some things. So it's an honor to welcome my brother and one of my teachers in the space of my brother and my priest at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? So our connection and bond for us together is our magnificent brother. You know, so I'm gonna give it up for my family right now. Brooklyn's own AA Rashid in the building. Legend. Peace, peace. What's going on with you, Lord?
I was born in Chicago.
Mm.
I was born in Chicago, and I grew up in Brooklyn, but I'm from wherever anybody became aware of me at, because I wouldn't be nothing without you. You feel me?
Mm.
For real. So I had to detach at 49. I'm like 7 times 7. This is my 7th time to be 7 years old. For real. For real. So I'm like, I'm detached from the direct associate, because that once you do that, the gravity flip on you when you agree to it. You heard?
Mm.
So I'm like this. As long as the gravity is not, this pulling is so strong, you heard? Let us operate like this. Boom. I'm so grateful to be around y'all. So
Mm.
I see my hero. Up there like this. Look, and like this, like a
Nah, you the
this
guy.
better than
You
the
already
video
know.
game. No, this better than the video game. This better than the video game. Look, could you imagine your friends who are have the intellectual acumen to understand themselves within the context of where we at now, and you have access to them to speak to them? That's amazing, bro. You heard? A lot of people don't have access to their true friends. People have lost their friends as a result of the internet, bro. You heard?
Mm,
For real.
That's a
So,
fact.
mm.
but I be like this. I already knew as a Scorpio since I was a child that you lucky if you could get enough friends for 10 fingers and 10 toes. Yeah. And I'm like this, the closer I get to some true information, I'm learning that sometimes the dead is more of a friend to the living than the living are to themselves and others. For real,
That's
serious.
the whole truth. That's the truth.
Yeah, for real. So that be my focus and itinerary. I ain't trying to trick nobody that think that they know everything, or that they alive, or that they they gonna outlive me. I hope you do. You heard? That's that would be my gift unto you. You heard? You feel me? Like you
Yeah.
got a chance to go and say more shit after me. You feel me? That's great. But I'm like, God damn, like what the fuck are we doing? You feel me? So I'm like, um, changing the understanding of what the word we mean. You know? So we is French. So, thank you, knowledge, for bringing me to Europe and putting your brother on an airplane. It was 2 airplanes. The other airplane was janky though. That little one, to get to Bavaria, I was scared. I was like, yo, oh my limiting beliefs was kicking in. I was like this, oh, they trying to kill me. I was like this, yeah, they gonna take me out. But I was like this, at least I'll be a legend. They'll be like this, yeah. The brother went out there and look, they have t-shirts, all type of merch and all that shit on me right now from back in the day. I promise you, for real. We would have never even met, King. You heard? They would have had knocked me off over there with the limiting beliefs. For real. For real.
Yeah, that was crazy. A decade and a half ago, me and 4 brothers got together. You know, like I was saying before we went live, their sacrifice.
Can I say one thing though? Can I
Go
say
ahead.
one thing? Shout out to the brothers. This is some shit that they did that I don't know if they ever knew what they was doing with this. To bring me out there, I needed to see this for myself. We was driving Oba. We was driving for Adi and didn't see no trees, bro. You heard? Yo, bro, I'm talking about
country.
it wasn't even, I couldn't even call it a country. That shit was a movie. You heard? It was some other shit, bro. It was like this. Then cobblestone streets and all the doors had metal fixtures and shit. Glasses of water was like $8. You heard? I was like, I'm good on the restaurants. That got me fucked up. You heard? Son, I went to the store. I went to the store to go and get me some the noodles. You heard? With the with the onion. You heard? And some spices. I was like, nah, y'all got me fucked up. I'm not about to be like this. Yo, I'm not about to be giving y'all all my bread back. Crazy. Yo, on an educational trip. And then you know that brand Faber-Castell for art?
Yeah.
So it's a castle, son, over there. The shit look like some shit out of a movie. They could Google this. I promise you. And I was like, oh, these the people made all the markers. You heard?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
They make the paint brushes too, for real, with precision. For real. But the most illest thing that I ever seen was that I seen this for myself, that I never seen this in the States, that the effigy, and then I'm going to stop talking. I want you to speak on what I must say. The effigy and the image that they presented for their patron saint of their city and country is a black man. And it was a ubiquitous image that I never saw in the States. And you know, we grew up on social studies. You heard? They always told us we won nothing. Never, we just pulled up for commercial purposes. We had no reason to even be over here besides. That's how they would do us, right?
Right.
Over here, the only people that looked like us was the homie right here and his friends. You heard? Everybody else was from over there, son. Like over there. You heard? Like from there. Boom.
Been there.
I promise you. And then another thing that I seen was I never seen that much emphasis on design and purposeful design for like the most minuscule things that you would take for granted, like a door. Silent doors. The door opens, like it's not. Wasn't nothing creaking, nothing was like. Shit was like, I was like, yo, what are they doing? What What are they doing that we need to do? Go ahead, Oba. I ain't gonna say nothing. Go ahead.
Nah, Germans are known for their tongue and groove carpentry. Right? I know this because my father was a carpenter. So a lot of the early brownstones that you see built in Harlem and in Bedford-Stuyvesant were built by German carpenters, and they have a style of tongue and groove, so that those old staircases that you see in them old brownstones, they ain't no nails in them shits. That shit is all locking tongue and groove shit, right? And the Germans are industrialists. Like, they're the only people that consider their country a father country, the fatherland. It's patriotic. That's really where that patriarchal concept come from, and it's due to their circumstances. So, they be having a big thing about the wolf, right? And the motherfucking wolf come around, eat their ass. And so the masculinity is honored there because, when you live out there in the woods, that wolf come through and be trying to catch you and go eat your kids. So that masculinity is a necessity, that harshness of them niggas being able to survive those conditions. So they are very practical and pragmatic people. So they train dogs in German because it's the language that is offensive. Like, you know what I mean? They were like, sheets and satin, right? You know what I mean? That shit, the dogs respond to them.
You heard that?
So
you heard that now?
Real talk, I didn't get this. This is not, conjecture. Like, I've had conversation with Germans like that where they would explain, where they gave me these points that we come from the father country. We're a patriarchal society, right? So it's about the men, because they need the protection, because the elements, and that goes into that whole conversation we was having the other day about nomads, right? People be moving from place to place. And so when we talk about the people that become the so-called European, a lot of their original bloodlines come from Africans. So they're albinoids, right? And at the time of the Ice Age, they are forced to miscegenate to survive the harshness of the winter. So when you get into the understanding that they become miscegenated with the Neanderthal, and because of that, it becomes a patriarchal society for them. And in them, this is why you always hear them talking about the blue bloods. And the blue bloods are the people that have the original DNA of those albinoids, because those albinoid empires were created by Africans, and they all connected by way of the cult of the leopard. So that every time you see royalty, albeit in Europe, if it's in South America, if it's in Asia or Africa, it is marked by the leopard pelt, because they are all sworn to the leopard cult. Okay, and so what happens is that they start to look for the blue blood. Who are the people that still have the pure blood that is not contaminated with all of the Neanderthal, right? Because you see the Neanderthal become. This is why you start to see all of them very tall, blue eyes, blonde hair. That's so that they can survive that winter. Now, when the nomads come along and they seize them, because they originally did as a means of transporting goods and information. When they show up after this ice age, the people have devolved. And so the idea is to get rid of the women because they can't feed the women. And so they sell the women. And this is why you start to get these images and these paintings. You see these pale-faced women with these chains around their necks, and they're being dragged by Moors, right? And what they did was they necessarily took these women and then they began to produce another race of people within the Mediterranean. And so a lot of the idea of the Germans is that they're the ones that really influenced a lot of the pagan customs that are maintained within Christianity, because they fought the Romans so goddamn hard. Feel me? They didn't just necessarily just fold to the Romans. They put the Romans through some shit that they, you know what I mean? And they became technologically advanced because of that, because of war. You know, the idea of the carts, it wasn't originally to be moving no goods. They were trying to move soldiers and weaponry. You know what I'm saying? And so they become technologically and industrially adapt. People, they cut down the trees because they have an industry. They're burning coal, they're making shit. For me, to cut the trees down. And so when you see talking about the Urukai and all of that, that is an adaptation of his understanding of how the Germans move. You feel me? They don't have any love for this forest because it doesn't support them. It's not fruitful to them. It's a hazard to them. So they might as well cut the trees down. This is in contrast to the African concept where the trees produce not only just oxygen, but they also produce food and other staples like honey and things like that. Over there ain't nothing else but some pines. You don't be eating no pines for too long. It ain't good on the stomach. So this is why they become explorers. They gotta get out of there because the ice age done damaged their land, and it's not agriculturally reciprocal to them any longer. You feel me? So the Germans and Germans have a lot to do with the original, I wouldn't say colonization, but these original expeditions. You know, they keep talking about the Maria and the Santa Maria, but it's really the Dutch and the Germans that got on them boats and started discovering things way before. And that comes from their Norse and Nordic origins, right? Because that the Vikings got their iron swords from Central Africa, right? That the Viking swords are branded with in Drinker and different Congo symbols on the swords, and just historically, the Europeans weren't smelting steel or iron at that time, so they had to have gotten it from somewhere. So they found out that the Viking ships, which are small enough to go through the rivers in the interiors of Africa, right? And so
is this the reason why they do? Is this the reason why they do runic divination? Because they had access to. Okay.
They had access to the symbolism of the Congo. This is why the Norse god becomes Odin, who's influenced by the blacksmiths that they would come in contact with that would give them the information. So the blacksmith is the smartest guy that they know.
Does the name Odin have something to do with the term Odu, cognitive or nuance?
Possibly because
phonetic?
Well, because of the story about him, about the raven pecking his eye out so that he could see. Right? So within the Ifa cosmology, the difference between what we do, so as an Olorisha, I manipulate cowrie shells, right? Yo, pass me one of them cowrie shells over there. I manipulate cowrie shells, right? I'm gonna show you something. In that bag, a bag with them shells. Give me that bag. So, cowrie shells have to do with women, right? So, this is the representation of a woman's vagina, the exterior of a woman's vagina, right? The labia. So, a man and a woman can manipulate a woman's labia, the external parts of a woman, right? Okay. Ifa divination is based on going inside the womb of God and coming in contact with the ovaries, which would be round, which are the palm nuts, right? And so the only thing that can see in that darkness is what? A one-eyed bandit, your penis. Only your penis can see within that triple darkness. So the idea that Odin would allow the raven to pluck out his eye so that he had one eye to see gives us an indication that they had some sort of contact with Odu, right? If you understand that Odin gets his power from these witches, right? And the beginnings of Ifa talk about that Orunmila gets his power from the Iyami, so that the palm nut divination is based on ones and twos. So they have 16 palm nuts in their hand, and they pull up, and whether they have one or two in their hands is whether or not they mark something, right? And they say that this was started because Orunmila, the divination deity of Ifa, he was buried from the waist down and stuck in the forest. So the birds, the mothers, would come and sit on the branch, and they would knock the fruit down. And he would ask a question, and whether they knocked one fruit or two fruit, he would mark a line in the sand because he couldn't go anywhere. And so there's all these juxtapositions of the fact that the pantheons of the Norse gods and how they set it up is very similar to, so that every story at some point when it gets back to your home, it changes. You feel me? It don't stay the same. So originally I'm in the Bronx and the story is like this, and the dude did that, and then I take it to the Brooklyn and I gotta change it because the niggas in Brooklyn don't understand because they're not over there by Yankee Stadium, so they don't understand them dynamics. So I have to give them another parallel to that, which changes the details to the story. And so it's the same story, it just how it's funneled and what becomes accessible to them, right? So that you won't hear too much herbal information coming out of the Norse people because they don't have a lot of herbs to work with. There ain't a lot of shit there. You understand? So they didn't cling to the herbal understanding. They took to the understanding about sociability, about human beings, and how we interface with one another. So Odin is directly affected by Ogun, and Ogun is the blacksmith, right? And the blacksmith has to deal with the duality of life. That the blacksmith created the machete to cut the forest down to create space for us to have civilization. But at the same time, he took that same machete and he chopped his brother up and committed murder, which is the most uncivilized act. And so there's the duality of man, right? Right? This is the burden of Ogun. And so those people who came looking for weapons took that philosophy with them. They took one part. They didn't get the entire pantheon, right? Because so they might get some Ogun, they might get a little bit of Yemaya because they're on the water and they got to, they're seafaring people and they know how to supplicate certain things that are pertinent to their existence, right? So that you will find that certain deities become obsolete or unapplicable in certain places because they have no purpose in that area, right? So there's an Orisha that comes from a certain part of Yoruba land in the Delta states. They call Ogun Ede, the shrimp hunter. And that cult didn't really translate to come over here with the other Orishas because they didn't have too much need for no shrimping people. You know what I mean? Like, what? Nah, we ain't doing that. We picking cotton and tobacco and cutting sugar cane. And so that deity becomes obsolete in its assistance to our existence because it has nothing to offer to us because the deity is only based on the probability of the environment around you. So if you live near a mountain, you're going to be talking to the mountain so to make sure that no rocks come down, crushing your house or killing your cows and shit like that. If you live near the water, you want to know to make sure that the tsunami don't come or that the tide act right so that you can go out there and get on the boat and bring some food home for your family. So the deity becomes, and the society is always influenced by the deity that is most popular to that group of people, so that they may necessarily have had a pantheon, and the one deity became sufficient enough to solve their problems, and the other deities became obsolete. You feel me?
So no, there was I don't know if knowledge, no, it's like it's a little bit on the internet on my side. I don't know if it's me or I don't know if the people could see. Are there people in the chat?
Yeah. We
Can
hear.
they hear everything? Are they?
Yeah, they
They
hear
can hear
everything.
everybody.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and then the other thing is, you said some profound things that I'm processing, especially in regards to the fact that I kind of feel, with all due respect, that anybody that tries to still say that prophets from the Bibles and the religious books what real people is like, I'm like, wow, that's childish in light of the fact that we got the resources to figure out where all this stuff came from. So the fact that you broke down the connection to the deity that forges metal and the role that the patriarchy is connected to Odin. And I'm like, this is the thing, this is what we was talking about, knowledge, years ago, about the type of conversations that we have, that is the ones that they don't do this thing where they separate the people. They integrate the information, and this adds value to us. This excellent. Thank you, Oba, for what you just did. You took us to a whole nother level, I promise you. And I'm like this. I'm a student of life. So as a student of life, I embrace you as a teacher to me. You heard? I promise you, I inundate myself with this thought of what would Oba do? You heard? When I encounter human interactions and stuff. And I'm like, yo, why? And I'm gonna end on this, is because the way his brain is formatted to the audience is he was not born with the fear of a deity external to his ability to activate the cosmos in his own behalf. So I'm speaking on behalf of people, that was born thinking that God has a say in our affairs, when in fact we do have a role in the unfoldment of our own destiny based off of our ability to receive an Odu.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is with the Odu, so the Yoruba word for placenta is Osogbo. When you go to get a divination, you come in either Osogbo or Ire. And Osogbo will be considered the detriment. You are in the negative. Now, the word Osogbo, the Yoruba word for everything is Bogbo. BG, Bogbo, Bogbo, right, with a G. Osogbo, the word also in Yoruba means to tie. So Osogbo really refers to everything is tied, meaning that all your escape routes from this circumstance or this situation are tied. You must face this circumstance. Now, the Yoruba word for placenta is Osogbo. This would allow us to assume that you came with all of the things that will impede you in this life. You brought them with you from birth, right? So you came here with all of the things that are meant to arrest you from your destiny, right? These things would be like the counter team against you. So you playing football, this is the team that's playing defense. And they trying to stop you from scoring, right? But you picked this team. You said that this is the thing. I want the best, you know what I'm saying, linemen, because I'm going to show you how good I am. So this is the test of God, that we pick our bullshit so that we overcome it. And in overcoming it, we cross the finish line in victory or an achievement, right? So you don't just necessarily come to this world and think that you're just going to have a easy ride. There's no point in that, right? It is the fine print to this resort. So you hear people say, I'm very much against the whole 3-dimensional concept. That shit don't mean nothing to me. We live in a 4-dimensional reality, right? We live in 4 dimensions. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, and what you taste are what dictates your reality. Okay? And this is based on the concept of the head. So you have this head, and on the head you have 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 lips, and 2 ears. And that makes up 8. Right? Now, you collect your information by what you see and what you hear first, and then what you smell. And then the last thing on your head is your mouth. And that should be the last thing to be activated is what you say. So that you should think about what information that you receive before you speak it. Right? So this idea that when you come into this reality, what you and I see, we can agree on, right? We can agree on what we see. We can agree that we both heard something. We can agree that something is emanating, that we smell it. And we can both agree that something is either wet or dry. Now, whether you like it or not is of no consequence to either one of us. Whether the sound is soothing to you or offensive, the fact is that we hear it, right? So the fact that we hear, you heard what I said? You heard what I said? Okay, I'm gonna take it back a little bit. So what I was saying is that when it comes to this dimension, people talk about we live in a 3-dimension, and I don't agree with that. I believe we live in the 4th dimension, and the 4th dimension is based on the 4 senses that you have, that you don't have 5. You have the 4 senses that are regulated by the head, right? Your head has 8 components to it: 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 lips, and 2 nostrils, right? And it's situated in a hierarchy that your eyes and your ears are above the nose and the mouth. So that what you see and what you hear should be the first things that affect you. Then what you smell, and then the last thing is what you taste. So when you eat something, the first thing that you do is you look at it. If it looks appealing, then you touch it to hear the sound of it. Is it squishy? Is it crunchy? Then you smell it. And then after that, you will then taste it. That will give you the indication whether or not this is worthy enough for you to taste it.
See, now this is the thing. When they talk dimensionality, we know because of empiricism and living science that we live in the 3rd dimension. So this is a 3-dimensional realm based off of our ability to perceive it. When people try to go beyond those dimensionalities, y'all using philosophy and English, right? Because we already have like the connotes for that. So I feel you with that. My thing is the 2-dimensional realm, according to the ancestors of the people who were the ones who smelted metal and beat metal into shape. They say that the sky is what they're beating into shape when they beat in bronze or beat into metals, they say that the sky is 2 dimensions. You heard? So I don't go beyond them, for real. You know, niggas be on the with New Age philosophy, Oba, trying to take us to 9th dimension. They could write a whole series of books and take you all the way to the 36th chamber, nigga, the 97th floor, the 80 blocks from the last dimension from Hellboy. You heard? I'm telling you.
listen. With the blacksmith the human blacksmith is a replication of the blacksmith in the universe, right?
Yeah.
In one of the songs that we have that we speak about two very profound Orisha, which happen to be, one happens to be Ogun and the other happens to be another male deity that we call Aganju or Agayu. And Agayu is an Orisha that is said to be an ether, that it doesn't feel about, right? And in one of the praises to him, they talk about Agayu being the sparks off of Ogun's anvil, right? They say Amana Mana Eki Alagbede. Amana Mana is the flash of the lightning, right? And it says that the lightning sparks that come off the blacksmith anvil are Agayu in action, because he is a deity that is of action, right? And the idea is that the blacksmith created the universe. What you call dark matter was formed after the energy emitted out of what they call the Big Bang. And so what ends up happening is that the blacksmith is the only Orisha that an Odu was named after. Okay? So this gives us an indication of his antiquity, because a lot of the Orishas are born in the Odu, but he was born before the Odu, and the Odu was named after him because of his valiance, right? So the Odu Ogun Da says Ogun creates or Ogun destroys, right? And so this is what I'm talking about with the duality of the blacksmith, that the blacksmith at some point because he was the medicine man, he was the juju man, he was the architect, he was the farmer, he was the butcher, he was everything. And so he abdicated the position of kingship, you feel me? So that the information is left amongst, because if you talk, everybody talk about the Dogon, but the Dogons are blacksmiths. You feel me?
Yeah.
They are blacksmiths, they're alchemists, right?
It's a relationship to the name too.
Well, their name, the name of their priest is the same name that is the same name of the Vodun priest, is the Ogun.
Exactly.
What I was speaking to directly was the Smith process. The Smith process.
And then if you hear if you hear the word, listen, if you hear the word Hogun or Hogan, and you remove the H, because the H is some placement there for linguistics, you hear the word Ogun. You heard?
Mm-hmm.
So is that a
connection, you hear it in gun,
Oba, to the actual? Yeah, thank you.
You hear it in the word gun. The word, the Yoruba word, which are the ones who invented iron, the Yoruba word for iron is Irin. I-R-I-N. Irin.
Right.
It is iron or hierro, right? So you understand that the word gun is a subjugation of Ogun, right? So
in the process of making it, this is what I was saying in regards to the name, you know.
Yes.
So that process of making it is smithing. The process of making it is smithing. The process of altering it is smithing. Mm-hmm. So the process of replicating it is smithing. All of it is
goes back to the
that's
blacksmith.
right. This is why they take it. This is why they take on it and they roll with it because that's a process. So describing the process takes it all the way back to where you gave it. So you gave us that, and I'm like, okay, this is what the smithing process is. So it takes it back to a family. So it doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from a family. You see what I'm saying? So if your father was a blacksmith, you're the son of a blacksmith. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So whatever the smithing process is. So in the military, I was a gunsmith. That was a trade that I learned from a Vietnam vet. So I could see pieces and put them together and make a weapon system. So that process is smithing. So every part had to fit as it was assigned, otherwise the weapon wouldn't fire. So if it misfired, you knew something was wrong in that cycle of operation. So that whole process of the smithing was that process. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So he was able to, show me that without, I didn't have to go to school for it. I sat with him and I learned it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So he was there to teach me that process of smithing. So back to the smithing, back to the replica, back to the copy, back to the birthing. Like you take something and replicate it. So this is back to the head. So from your head to your reality, you had to be industrious. This is where your industry comes from. So if it can't come from your head, it won't exist in your reality. So that process of taking it from your head to your reality, and somebody else can do it. That's where the industry comes from. So the industry comes from the ability to be able to replicate something that was a determined idea in your mind. So that birthplace, that mind place, that headspace, even with a weapon system, a part of the calibration process, there's a headspace and timing process. So you check it in that cycle operation for functionality before you fire it. The headspace and timing has to be checked. So from the headspace to reality, it works in that same process. You see what I'm saying? So if it's not properly tracked, like if you got some wheels, on your car, they had to be rotated and balanced. There's a process, and they put it on machine for a calibration to check it. That's a timing mechanism that's associated with it. So that's the difference between life and death in that smithing process, and that timing is the causality and the space between life and death in reality that we.
Interesting. You created a linear projection for the utility of that in the contemporary world where it's life or death to have you some Odu. Huh.
That's a fact. That's a real fact. That is a real fact.
So the thing is that we associate Ogun with not just iron, but we also associate him with gravity, right? With the force of gravity, and gravity is what gives us our idea. Time don't exist outside of the gravitational pull of this planet that we're on. I keep explaining niggas, if I take you off this planet and you just floating around in space, you ain't gonna know what time it is because the sun ain't gonna move nowhere. It's gonna be right there looking at you. So you have no contrast. So the gravity helps. So within the pantheon of Orisha, Ogun is heavily associated to Oduduwa, back to this Odu. And Oduduwa is associated with time because he is the deterioration of things, right? And so the blacksmith has a lot to do with the time as well. And they become synonymous with one another. So that everything in our civilization comes out of Ogun. So Obatala gave us the bell to tell us when to wake up and when to go to bed. The blacksmith made that. the knife that they used to slaughter the bull, the blacksmith made that. The hoe and the rake and all of that the farmer used, the blacksmith made that. The arrows to go hunting, the blacksmith made that. The swords to defend our food and our livestock, the blacksmith made that. He becomes everything integral to us, so that there's no town where Ogun is not welcome, because the blacksmith is a necessity of the entire society. Okay? He is the intellectual. So that of all other traditions, we have an ability to see our deity in any guise or any ethnicity. So that, and that's Ogun. The thinking man is Ogun, constantly trying to industrialize or to make convenience for us. He's a problem solver. No other tradition has that ability where they may able to see another prophet or icon and be able to see their own philosophy within it. None ever has that ability. You feel me?
Right.
That we see Shango in even a woman in Santa Barbara, that he's such a man that he can be feminine. That is the refrain that they speak about him, right? That he's almost androgynous, that everybody wants to be a part of him. So they're able to see their God in any face that reflects back to them. You feel me? Whether it's in a Chinese avatar, whether it's in an animal or a symbol, they're able to see God reflect back to them, albeit whatever the origins of the reflection. Okay?
Oba,
No other tradition.
he'll tell you when I was there, I said in our lecture 15 years ago yesterday, I said when you go to China, Jesus is Chinese. And I dare you to tell a Dominican that Jesus is not Dominican. Yeah.
That's a fact.
And so
That is a
you
fact.
have
I
to be
said
able
that
to
15 years
necessarily.
ago.
And so we're able to see our Orisha in anything. So that you be like, if you show Pokemon, I'll be able to be like, oh, okay, that's this one, that's that one, that's this one, that's because they serve a certain archetype. So I heard a woman having an interview speak about the fact that she went to divinity school, and in divinity school, the first thing that they teach them is E5. And they teach them that all of the other things came out of that. This is what the Vatican teaches. Okay? They teach them that all of the other things came out of E5. So the archetypes that the Orishas etch out become the archetypes that exist and survive throughout the world wherever they go. It's the same archetypes. Feel me? So it is frustrating to watch people go over the same things when that which is right there to save you is right in front of you. You feel me? It's not that hard. But we want to question everything. And so you're talking about people who are illiterate arguing about a book. Like, what are you talking about? You're arguing about a book and your people couldn't read. And so the real magic is in the oral tradition. Because we all have grandparents and great-grandparents who could not read, but they can recite the Bible chapter and verse. That's not because of reading and literature. That is because of oral tradition. You feel me? It's not because of literature and research. That's because of oral tradition. People who will hold on to a book that they cannot read. They can't decipher it, but they can recite it to you. Right? That's where the magic is. It's in the oral tradition. So that's where we have to get back to, where we have storytellers and people who are around to maintain the metaphors and the allegory to explain it to mistakes and that they advance. And so, yeah, reading that book, you're going to do nothing but get yourself all confused, because you have to hear it, right? You have to hear the story. You can't read the story. You got to hear the story. You could read something and hear the people talk about the story, and you'll have a better understanding about what was told to you than what you read. I'm very sure about that.
And that's what you're going to keep. That's what you're going to keep. And
that what you heard.
Right. And this is why. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying this is why that the small hats have co-opted the silver screen in the music industry, because they know that it's the oral and the visual, those two things at the top, that get your attention first, and will decide. Because if something don't look good to you, you ain't that that becomes the thing about. They have co-opted our sense of what we listen to and what we see. Okay? And so if they have created the pathology that if you don't do it their way, you're not gonna win. Essentially what they're doing, they are superimposing their folklore on us. That's the problem. And so even with the music, that we've allowed them to co-opt it and turn it into a marketing scheme for them to sell and buy. When you look at the music, you see that the music becomes associated to a vice. Every last one of them, with the exception, and I can't even say with the exception of gospel, because with the gospel, the vice was promiscuity, right? So they singing all that gospel shit in the church, and then they behind the thing, they piping them girls down, right? And then we get to the blues. And so now the blues, you drink a little bit of alcohol and get out of control and play the music, right? You get to rock and roll and cocaine and all that becomes, you know what I'm saying? And so the music, you could tell what people are doing by what the music is playing. Straight up.
And the art will be here longer than us all. So if you wanted to look at the time and what was happening in a particular time period, they go right to the art. They go right to the art. So when they co-opt the art, this is how they live forever.
And so they've created the low income African American, and they've created the narrative and the culture and everything. They've like farmers, they farmed us, right? Mm-hmm. They've cultivated and domesticated us, right? So that what we're talking about is that it's supposed to be orally transmitted, not literally, right? So you have people in Ancestral read the book, but they can recite it through chapter and verse because they heard it, right? Which is a real true indication of their intellect, because all they had to do was to hear it and to have total recall in order to regurgitate it. You know what I'm saying? So what the powers that be have done is have co-opted the storytelling by way of the silver screen, and some things that you see and hear affect you deeply. And so the music has become nothing more than a popcorn stand for them. So like when you go to the movies and they sending you you thirsty, go and get some, right? The music has done that with us about the goods that they are selling to this two-dimensional reality of what you see and hear, right? And then you are being pulled on from the bottom half. This is the sex and this is the vice, right? The alcohol, the drugs, the smoking part that get people in trouble, because this is the one that don't really say nothing. We have a saying, all of the body is asleep except for the nose. When you go to sleep, your nose is still working. It's still breathing. It don't get a rest, right? And so that speaks of the idea that more than you think it does, and it doesn't get as enough credit for the amount of information that it gathers for you, right? Every woman that we've ever had intercourse with was stimulated by how she smelled, okay? And vice versa. If a man smells a certain way to a woman, if his pheromones are strong, then she is invited, right? And so we don't give ourselves enough credit about how much the nose does to us, about what we eat.
They say science say that your nose remembers, the olfactory remembers over 5,000 scents.
It's associated, so that here's the ill thing. So I used to know a lady that I used to date a girl whose mother was blind, and we used to have a conversation. I think I said this before. We have a conversation, but she wasn't born blind. But I used to ask her, when she dreams, what does she dream? Does she see?
Wow.
Right? And I asked her, do blind, what do they perceive in that state of stasis? So there has to be other sense. So that means that they're in their sense of dream. It has to be stimulated by scent, right?
Yeah.
And what they taste, so that the four pillars, or the crystallized in the altar, and by what you hear, see, smell, and taste, right?
Yeah.
So you light a candle to see, you have a cup to taste, you have incense to smell, right? And you have prayers to hear. Now these represent air, water, fire, and earth. So that element, what you smell is based on earth, because what you smell has to deal with whether or not it smells ripe or rotten, right? What you hear is by way of the wind, and what you taste is about water, and water is associated with your dreams because you swallow in your sleep. Feel me? And so you swallow in your sleep so that you don't drown. And so with those understandings, when you create the altar, it has to address those four elements, and the symbolism has to apply to those four elements. You feel me? So the storytelling in the oral tradition is very, very important, because it keeps the mind stimulated and it keeps the mind busy, right? So that you can store things, and you have a faster recall, right? So, like they say on your computer, the things that you do often are the things that show up faster on the computer. So if you ain't looking at your photos for a moment, it takes your computer a moment to go, because it hasn't remembered to do that.
Right.
And so your brain does the same thing. So if you're being constantly fed the images, and your brain doesn't get a chance to actually formulate them within the imagination. Right? The nation of images within your mind is being shortcutted and given. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, the storytellers is very important, man.
Yeah. So when we speak of stories, right? Is there a case scientifically? Because I consider you a scientist to me. So scientifically, is there a case for this, that these stories have an effect on the developmental psychology of those who participate in receiving them? And can these stories improve the quality of one's life if you had, such as like our brother, if you had traumatic experiences in war? What if you wasn't at war? What if you was at what if you grew up in New York City, you heard? And your parents had to go to work every day, and you was a latchkey kid, and you've seen the world a whole different kind of way. Can these stories improve the quality of my perception? Yeah. Can I become a better person had I had more of these narratives as opposed to all of the other ones? Because I see a thing, and I'm gonna end on that, where the young people is celebrating loss. You heard? But they don't have no rubric inside of the story or the narrative to give them the win for the true play, which is the learning experience. So how can we apply, you know what I mean, the story to the cognitive aspect of neural transmission, what they call it, neuroplasticity?
Okay. So to address even the issue that you even brought up. So in the Odu, we have an Odu called Ode Meiji. In Ode Meiji, it talks about the child who was raised by himself, right? And this becomes a conversation where the child who was raised by himself has to understand and forgive his parents, because once he becomes a full-grown leopard, he begins to understand the plight of the mother leopard, right? So the plight of the mother leopard is such that she has to go out and hunt, but she has 2 cubs. And so she has faith that she's going to leave her cubs in the brush to go hunt, because if she does not take this chance, they will starve to death, right? And she will starve, and there will be no more lineage. And so she has to make this decision to semi-abandon her cubs to go and seek food. So when the person that comes with this type of signal comes, they usually have an issue with their mother, right? And the thing is to try to get the person to understand that as human beings, we don't come with instructions. So any parent that gave birth to you is a good parent, because they didn't have to even do that, right? Man could have pulled out, right? And so the fact that they submitted to this responsibility, you owe them a certain amount of respect and love for that reason, because one day you may be put in that same position and you may have to make that same decision. So they reckon this to the breast and the breastfeeding that the mother gives to the child, that one day she has to take the child off the breast because it is in the best interest of the child. Now, this may be traumatic to the child, to the baby, because this is a sense of security, a sense of sustenance, a sense of affection, and this is all being taken away. And the child will resent the mother, but it is in the mother's best interest, in the child's best interest, that I have to allow you to grow teeth to eat solid food for your best interest. And so we come to understand that the world is not made up idealistically, so that we must necessarily take these lessons that the first God that gave us. So if your mama gave you up, this is an indication that the world will be very harsh to you. And so she is preparing you for your conditions, right? So I like to talk about the dude, the comedian dude. He's my reference. Tommy Davidson. His mama dropped him in a garbage can, right? And a white woman was doing her social work and heard the baby crying in a snowy day and took him out of the garbage can. And she raised him. That later on, when his moms got it together, he invited her to one of his shows. And his wife was like, "Why would you invite her?" He was like, "Because she's my mother." And she came to the show, and she was a foster mother at this point. And his wife later on asked him, she said, "Why would you allow her to come and experience your victories?" And he was like, "Because if she didn't put me in that garbage can, I wouldn't be who I am." He says, and the fact that she even was able to listen to her faith, that something told her to put her baby in the garbage can because she was of no good use to the child, says a lot about her intuition, right? And so here it is, he became who he was because she made that decision. And so this is the decision that when we talk about our relationship and love to God, is that do you truly believe in the intuition that is talking to you, so that you make that decision that you can't see over the hill, but at some point there will be a reward for following these instructions. right? So anybody, that woman, when she put her baby in the garbage can, everybody she came in contact with told her that she was a piece of shit. You threw your baby in the garbage, you piece of shit, right? But she was very clear that she didn't have the minerals to raise that baby. And so something in her psyche, in her external atmosphere, told her, listen, put the baby in the garbage can, he'll be fine. And the fact that she could believe in that on a snowy day, put her baby, newborn baby, in the garbage can, is a testament to God's foresight. You heard? And so this is how the story is able to necessarily heal the wounds, the emotional wounds that people have when we are, well, so the idea of the story is to take oneself out of the circumstances and observe it objectively. So when I tell the story to the person, I don't tell them who they are in the story. I tell them the story, and then I ask them the logic of the story. And when they point out the logic, I explain to them that they are the one who's being illogical in the story, so that they're able to see themselves outside of themselves, right? Because we have this saying, a black cat can see in the dark, but he can't see himself. So one needs to come outside of oneself. This is what effigies and motifs are for, so that we can cast and project ourselves at this motif and observe ourselves outside of ourselves. Feel me?
Yes. So this is the importance then of the oracular tradition and its role. Can you speak to the oracular tradition and the merit of having licencia and having authentic relationships? I feel thrilled and I feel blessed to be able to talk to you, both of y'all. You know, on my journey, I want to say I might have met y'all around the same time. Both of y'all as gifts unto me. Yeah, it's something in my my predestined, reality that I had to meet y'all. Can you speak to can you speak to
We say
licencia?
that equally.
And I want to say this. I
Tell
think
them
I'm
again,
blessed
Oba.
because I got the ability to still communicate in a real level with you, King. You heard? Like, It's like I never called you with no bullshit. You heard?
No, never.
If I ever called you with something, life or death, I was always authentic with the real play. You heard? Like what it is. And I'll be like, yo, I honor that, the fact that I have another psychology that is objective to my reality that can give me back what you just said, your role in the circumstance, because a lot of people don't want to see their play in the play. You heard? You want to sell merch, but you can't spell me. You heard?
Yeah.
For real. You can't do it outside yourself. You can't spell game without me. You can't play games without yourself.
That's a fact. Well, see, this is, why this one, when you hear me be on my Ashe police thing, it's because people are bastardizing it. Ashe is in everything. This is without a doubt. But in order to access it, it has to be activated, right? And it can only be activated in the language and in the custom, in the tradition that the word was invented in, right? The word has a particular connotation to the language and the culture and the customs that it comes from. So it doesn't work if one is not initiated. Now, having the ability to tap into these things, or as they say, people say they like to tap, and I don't like that language, because I feel like it's ingenuous. It feels like you're stealing, like you're tapping in. You don't have to tap in. I will let you in, right? And so it's necessary for people to go through this process, because the language. So I heard there's a Dogon priest by the name of Naba. He does a couple of videos. He's a Dogon priest. He's from the Dogon. He's not a transplant. He's from the Dogon. And one of the things he talks about.
I watched it.
You watched it, right? Okay. And one of the things he talks about is the fact that the language, if I speak to you as a convert, it ain't for you to understand. It's for your blood to absorb that information, that resonance that I've just given you orally. And when you reproduce, your cells will have that dormant within them, and your child will have it dormant within them. That when they hear the language, it will activate all of the information within them. Okay?
Hey, what he just did was resolve the quandary of people who's like this. Oh, the reason why I make all this hip hop is because my aunt, my uncle, my mama, and them was playing the music around me. But also when they forged you, you heard? You were forged with those imprints within you based off what you said, the sensory perception, the smells that they was around you, the taste, the feelings, the sentimentality.
So that I could go to those places because when I was born, and all of my cousins were born, both of my uncles were jazz musicians, played Sun Ra. They played John Coltrane, played Miles music so that we would be in sync with them, right? So that I can channel my uncle any given day that I want to because I know where he is. I know where he resides in the ether, right? Because there are different things for me to be able to identify him by way of smell, what I hear, how and what I see. These certain symbols give me an indication of his existence and its presence, right? Because I have memory, right? And so this is why the memory is so very important, and it is very important to exercise the memory because it is the memory that attaches us to ancestry, because you only know of them because of memory, and they can only identify with you based on the memory. So that when you think about somebody, like today, when I get off the phone with y'all, I gotta text one of my homeboys to tell him to light up a candle for one of his homeboys because I saw his homeboy and he showed up on my desk, and I'm like, oh, because he figured out that in order for him to get that attention, I'm the conduit to get to his people, right? So that once they figure out, they pick up that stream of consciousness, then you become like Oda Mae Brown, like you said, where they be like, oh, what's good, son? You do that? Let's go. I need you to tell the homie.
Yeah.
You know me? Like, and so the reality is that nobody does this without vice, because I smoke marijuana and get high so that them niggas will stop, so that the murmurs slow down a little bit, because it could be overwhelming. Them niggas get to talking. I'm like, why are you telling me about this nigga business, my nigga? Get out of here, right? So I do that to inebriate myself, to put me in a state where I'm insulated away from them for a moment so that I can have some peace, right? Because if not, then everything that they got going on is passing through on my desk, and I don't get. And this is how you get people to start to lose and become insane, because they can become overwhelmed with this, right? It's like anything. The river, at some point you can stand in it, and then all of a sudden somebody opened up the dam, and now you headed for a waterfall.
Like,
so
what's the name? Constantine. That's an ill play. That movie.
That's
right
yeah,
there.
definitely.
It has a lot of it has a lot of truths in the lifestyle of those who necessarily indulge in that world, right? And it had a lot of symbolism with the mirrors, the sulfur, right? The holy water and what that shit represents, right?
Because the nightclub, the underground nightclub with the password, with the Rorschach, what you call it, tarot symbolism, with the cat, with the alcohol, electricity, water on the feet,
but even
to go to the other dimension. They was bugging.
He went into the underworld. You feel me?
Yeah.
So the oral tradition is really, and so this is one of the good things about them dropping hip hop from the major companies, is that people will get a hold of it and necessarily be able to really curate it again, right? That's one of the good things about West Side and them, is that they figured out how to curate their own narrative, right? So like what you said, you're talking about high-end frequencies that are at a high value so that they make it like Gucci from a sonic perspective, right? Because they understand that their core audience are trust fund babies who have money to necessarily collect things, right? That will stand the test of time. So that if you understand that white boys have a culture of collecting shirts from concerts that becomes, these are sources of conversation amongst them socially, right? So they go to each other's houses and they be like, yo, I was at the, you know what I'm saying, the Pink Floyd in 1980s, such and such. And they go and they pull out the t-shirt, right? It's a source of culture to them. And so
and that was the thing missing with the, what you call it, with the overall culture, is anybody that make music that don't have no merch is really not important to me. You heard? It, like, if you don't have no merch, I don't even think you really taking it that serious. And if you do have merch, it should be merch that I would want to wear. So I might understand why y'all don't got no merch, because it's not nothing. I see you wear everything else, but I never seen you wear your merch for your thing. So I'm be like this. I don't know if your thing is, I don't know if that's really a play. You heard? But because anybody could rap, you heard? Anybody could turn bass up in music, but who can do composition and make it like a soundtrack? So when we was young people, I want to say the merch from when our youth was, it was whatever the rapper was wearing in the video became the merch without us up in a ubiquitous sense, without us even knowing it. We got hip to certain styles. I remember one summer for the youth culture, they were selling these t-shirt downtown Brooklyn, a black t-shirt with this white, what you call it, silk screen, and at the same time selling black bandanas, and they were selling Tupac t-shirts. You heard?
Mm-hmm.
Then I remember back in the day, if you lived in the Bronx, they fresh was clean, brand new black army jacket, Champion or Russell sport sweater, Levi's clean, you heard? And black ups, you heard?
Mm-hmm.
With
Or
the straps.
Or chuckers.
Right. Then if they was older and it was winter, they would have the appropriate jeans or Carhartt, you heard?
Mm-hmm.
So then that was like the brands now are catching back up to aesthetics and to utility in clothing. So I just happen to know people that's interested in being in the front end of that conversation, and that's the brand identity that everybody should have. Like when you go and we indulge in different forms of Afrocentric or Afro cultural identity, we go to certain motifs and styles that are appealing to our perception. You know what I'm saying? So some people be into these prints. Some people be into this fit. Some people like to wear this, like that. And that is the front end of our culture, is aesthetic presentation. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that they remove from our culture. They start dressing us crazy. And you remember that period when hip hop made so much money off of clothing, but that shit had to have a resurgence later on. You know what I mean? Now it's getting this, it's retro. It's getting this retro right now, but it's getting this retro through Gothic and through like Japanese markets. You heard? Based off of the importance of denim. You heard? And who's the intelligentsia in regards to the fashion. So like I don't even deal like music. It's like, yeah, that's your soundtrack, whatever. You heard? If you don't got nothing no other infrastructure, then music is just your soundtrack to everybody, to me. And I think every superhero should have a soundtrack, for real.
That's real, like Jack of Spades. So listen,
Yo,
that's
where I got that from. You a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I've
Yo,
been saying
BDP.
this no, listen. When I was
That was it.
like a few years back, I was on Urban Next talking about the fact that like so Sean Combs is a topic of conversation right now, but I was telling niggas at the end of the day that he cracked the code because he understood that it wasn't about the music, it was about the merch. And so he sold all of the music because he was selling the alcohol, and because he understood that from selling the Sean John clothes, right? So that if you don't have something to sell, then your music is really irrelevant. Lifestyle. You're selling an archetype to the people so that they can feel comfortable about not being themselves and get into whatever skin that you've designed for them, right?
That's one level. The other level is this: they also want to participate vicariously in a world that they don't have access to, and the garment allows them psychologically almost to wear like a mask in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And so it allows you, because the regalia is regalia has a lot to do with psychology, right? So if the person puts on a tuxedo, they have to behave in a certain manner because they have a tuxedo, a certain behavior in a tuxedo. But we know that at the end of the wedding, when the motherfucker gets some cups of alcohol in him, he starts to deconstruct the regalia. First, the jacket come off.
He changed the garment. Yep.
Yeah, the jacket come off.
The shit turned into a scarf at the end of the night.
because the regalia constricts him from behaving as such, because it doesn't allow, because the regalia has a specific connotation and denotation to how you're supposed to behave, right? So you come out of that shit to necessarily be able to wild out. So certain people require a shell like a hermit crab where they put this thing on because it feels comfortable to them, and they can go through the world and they can, you know what I'm saying, ain't nobody going to, you know what I'm saying, try to eat them because they got this, you know, because there was a time in the early 90s where like there was dudes that looked like the back of the Source magazine. Like you could tell, like, oh, son ain't really from the hood. He looked at the back of the Source. He got the Source jeans. He got the chain. He got the watch. Everything, because he's putting on a regalia that he sees, that he knows that he can be able to maneuver through the space if he put these things on, right? So
he wore his breastplate in his sword of God. You heard? in his myth. Yeah. In his myth.
Yeah. So
they went from the sim characters to the Grand Theft Auto. So this is what they're paying attention to, from the sim characters that you could create to, you know, the Grand Theft Auto persona's character.
And they pay money in the virtual world to do that. So if they do it in the virtual world, of course they do it in the tangible world, right? Motherfuckers be paying money to have certain looks on these video games and shit. I'd be like, yeah, son, I spent money to do this. I'd be amazed and shit that work, right? Like, and I'm not judging it and knocking it. I'm like, I got to eat, my nigga. I ain't ever eating shit. I'm like, I don't know how that works, but so the idea of the music being an oral transmission, right, that allows you to have a certain amount of memory. Right, it becomes, so now certain shit is nostalgic that it takes me to a space, and I'm present in that place again. I go back there, in those circumstances. You feel me? So like, I go back to that time. I listen to that Ray and Go shit, and I'd be like, yeah, I remember we was doing this, that, and the third. And I step back and I'll look at the defects in those circumstances, so that I never put myself in them. And if I do see those signs, I'm well aware of them. Like, oh yeah, that shoit happened when we ain't fit to do that. That's not the type of outcome that we're doing.
What you just said, is what a lot of grown ass men our age who's supposed to have the litany of experiences should know exactly what you said. You heard? How you said it to. Then, bro, if this, yo, bro, 1 + 2 = 3 in this equation, if we was on Mars, if we was on Saturn, if we was in a hyperdimensional universe, you heard? Beyond comprehension, that shit plus that shit equals some dumb shit right there. You heard? For real. I promise. It's the same thing like this. Messaging me in a direct message and I don't know you and you sending me a video about some shit you think is deep. You heard? The
Right.
equivalent of that to me is that you don't know me, your ass is stupid than a motherfucker, and that you owe me some money. For real. I promise you. This shit is about psychonometrists. Psychonometry. Yo.
Psychonometry.
Yo, you see me? Yo, did you see me? You see me walking around? Listen, you see me walking around looking for my See, I was looking for something, right?
Yeah.
The thing I was looking for is called the charger. So I'm in the showroom. Ain't no charger over here. So I don't want to be disrespectful. I done tapped back in. Yo, y'all made me go to my thing, erase mad video footage and all this. So now it was me. I was thinking the connection was raggedy. I had too much shit in my phone. You heard? So for real, tell them to send me your phone, Knowledge. I need the iPhone 16 for the work. Tell them that in the description.
The psychonometry.
Oba, pray for me. Oba, I need the iPhone 65. Yo, yo, I promise you. Yo,
the psychonometry.
Nah, listen. I'm gonna send you some juju in a minute, though. I'm gonna need you to send me the ad.
Don't tell it. Don't say it to nobody.
Woo, 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 woo.
That's it. That's it. Yo, I love y'all, brothers. You heard?
I love you too, my guy. You already know.
I'm gonna tap in when I get safe.
All right, do that.
All right, peace and love.
Peace and love. My family. Yeah, Knowledge.
Right.
You know, we be giving up jewelry for the low over here.
For the low. Hey, for the no low at times. For the no low at times. It's like, oh, yeah.
For the no low, I promise you, they don't have no idea. You know, because we all of this stuff, like, if it don't help you have a better day, abandon ship. You know, one has to you begin to divorce oneself of expectations and begin to have some sort of gratitude for the little bit of victories that we have. You know what I'm saying? You've been to my house before. You know my bestie, he in a wheelchair. Ain't nothing to complain about. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Nah, it's nothing that he got to go to try to reach for that I'm not going to go and try to get first because I can't. Right? Because I can.
And it's a welcoming feeling. It's a welcoming feeling to be around family. You know, when you someplace where you don't belong. You see what I'm saying? So, like, I never read nothing. You know, you heard me say this 1,000 times before. I never read nothing. I never went through no spiritual system, nowhere, joined no revolutionary organization, whatever the case may be that ever made me pick up the phone and argue with my mama or go home and argue with my mama about anything. You understand what I'm saying? Nor my siblings, ever. Never. I didn't read all of the books. I didn't read everybody's books and all of that. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't placed in me like that. You know, it was on me to be an advocate and a warrior and a protector for them. So what I look like arguing with them about something that they dealing with, that's what they dealing with. So when you go home, it's a blessing to be able to be around your family unless you're not right. Unless you're not right or they're not right. You see what I'm saying? So you go home, you be around your
Yeah.
family, take the opportunity to celebrate, because when you can't see them no more, you're plagued with all of the hell of the shit you thought was important. Your own beliefs, your own pride, your own ego, all of that shit. You'll be in tears at night, wishing that you could undo some of the shit that you was holding on to. You know what I'm saying? So at home, I'm home. I'm home with my family. I'm home, loving on them and appreciating the ability to be able to see them. My older brother, he can't see anymore, but he still see better than me. And I got 4 eyes. You understand what I'm saying? So he, he lives his life like ain't nothing happened. You understand what I'm saying? He lives his life like nothing ain't happening. But I'm not there with him when he by himself and how he's shouldering everything that he shouldered. So when I see him, it's love. It's always love. You see what I'm saying? So being in a space around family is enriching, because there's not a lot of family going on, and the family's not promoted nor supported. So this is why the society we see and the reality we see is in peril. So a lot of that shit is in shambles, because back to understanding what family is, you looking to be adopted into somebody else's family versus seeking value in your own family. I love our people because of my family. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't, I read Message to the Black Man, Oba, and I got sparked. Like, hell no. My family gave me Message to the Black Man. You understand? My family gave me the autobiography of Malcolm X. My mother gave me Jawaza Kandrufu's books, The Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys, when I was 7. You understand? Like, she gave me Malcolm X Speaks. So I love our people from what my mother gave me through her umbilical cord, physical and spiritual. You see what I'm saying? So, I didn't find any of them great people that I read in them black encyclopedias outside. I found the wolves outside. You understand what I'm saying? So I had to contend with the wolves in the wolf-like manner. You understand? So there was a understanding in the ebb and the flow, which garnered me a respect, and those people outside of my house became family too, based on our physical conflict, our mortal combat. You see what I'm saying? So either we ran together or they ran when they see me. One way or the other. You understand what I'm saying? So, that was the tonality for family. So even with my military service, it didn't come from me waking up one day. I did everything in my power not to deal with that shit. But my grandmother said that's where I was going to be at, because there was a lesson that I needed to learn. So astutely walking in family purpose, whether I walked or I got drugged, either way it went back to my family. You see what I'm saying? So, in honor of you, in honor of Rob, we together in that same family space. You see what I'm saying? We come together in that same family space. And when you're around your family, they either bring the best out of you or the worst out of you. You understand what I'm saying? But it's still you. It's still you. So either something you need to elevate or something that you need to fix. You understand what I'm saying? One way or another, that's where it's at. So that shit come with you. So I love, who you are, and I love the ability to be able to be in your presence. You see what I'm saying? Like in your presence, and then you're in your home, because that's a gift. You see what I'm saying? So that's what family is, and that's why it's always family like that.
Listen,
and he's
man,
one of the few places you come to. You understand? You don't go a lot of places.
Listen to me, like, so later on people measure them. You know what I mean? So the fact that you've been going strong and doing this and having this outlet for some real shit to permeate, it just says that, we're gonna live forever, because there was a time when literature was, the thing where we're in the digital age. And even if the digital age don't survive, somebody will come along and find remnants of it, and they'll be like, "Oh, I seen Dude on radio, and Oba Ade Rashid was up there talking some shit back in 2023." And so, it's all relative. Like, you know, and you know more than anybody else, I don't just show up nowhere. You feel me?
Right.
Like I'm real stush about where I'm, you know what I'm saying, spit my game at. And so, you know, like I said, you done been to my house, you done been in my shrine, you know, you cousin, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you cousin. And the other thing that is most interesting in the connection of all three of us is that all three of us as men are absent of our mothers in the physical.
Right.
And this is a very high indication. You know, that shit makes or breaks men. You know what I'm saying? Some niggas don't, I know almost died. You feel me? And they had died of a broken heart. Not even my homeboy didn't even kill himself. He just died of a broken heart. And so, you know, it's important that, you know, as men who've traversed that obstacle, you know, we have a different perspective on the world because you understand that there's a black hole in the center of the universe because there's nothing that can fill that presence ever again. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just as men that have, like I said, that have unfortunately had to be without those jewels, right? Especially in these times right now, you know, it's a testament to our resilience. You feel me? And you know, and you know, I've never, like, you know, since I've been out on this journey, I didn't get into this, you know what I'm saying, to pontificate and sell my brand. I came into this defending my tradition by way of misinformation, right? Like, if somebody gonna talk about it, well, I'm qualified to talk about it because I do it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, bit by bit, we eat the head of the rat, as they say. So, you know, what we do has effects, and we will see the fruits of our labor. So, you know, it's a beautiful day that we can honor this anniversary of Mama Bear. You know what I'm saying? And y'all trip to, you know, you bringing the brothers to Germany. You know what I'm saying? Taking this thing worldwide because this network, I have reflections from all the way in the UK from people that come from the DRC and from Zimbabwe and the Congo and different things. And that's because of the international work that you've done. So, you know, chicha to you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, real talk, your mama she didn't have you for no reason. You know what I mean? It wasn't in vain. Word.
Tupac said something in one of those songs. I think it was Thug Mansion or something like that. He said, I cried at night sometimes. I often contemplated suicide, but when I held that 9, all I could see was my mama's eyes. That was it. You know, there's other, you know, things, but when he said that, you know, it was like, damn, I've been there. You know, I've been there. Like, there's nothing literally that could replace that void. The uplifting practices that you teach to honor our ancestors through spiritualism, and I would be remiss if you left without at least speaking to it for a little bit for us, is redeeming. It's redeeming in regards to our identity that's in crisis, especially many of us who, again, identities have been co-opted. They got us looking here, there, everywhere except where we're supposed to look, you know. Mm-hmm. So whether you have one side of your family that is absent to you or both sides, in a vast majority of cases that we don't speak to, because when you look at the foster care system, we gave a perfect analogy of Tommy Davidson. Tommy Davidson represents a segment of the population that we don't even speak about, the children in the foster care system. There's no identity there. We may have an identity in crisis. There's no identity there. And every recollection, oftentimes in those cases, are very traumatic because you're not going to treat those who come into your house like you would treat those that are in your house. So
Right.
I bring that up like oftentimes when I talk about Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz. Peace and blessings be upon them both. Dr. Betty Shabazz was a miracle to her family because her family, the foster family that got a hold of her, couldn't have children. So she was treated as a miracle. And she grew up in a loving environment where she could be a nurse. You see what I'm saying? So she could help families and she could help children and she could help, women in that space. And Malcolm, after the assassination of his father and his mother being put in the insane asylum, he got reared in environments that grew him up to see the sting of the lash. So when he addressed it, he didn't address it from a philosophical space solely. He addressed it from a practical space from where he lived. And when those two came together, she was able to heal him and he was able to hip her, to prepare her and reconnect their families from both of them that was lost because of the tumultuous nature that happened. So after his departure, we still had 32 years with her, and she fought everybody for her family to stay intact. Just like the advent of his father being assassinated and his mother, being, put in the insane asylum, they came for Dr. Betty Shabazz in that same way to separate her family and those girls that she had.
Right.
So not only did she survive, she thrived in there on every level. So her legacy, was intact. And she got to bring all of those families back together and she helped keep families together while fighting against those who were interlope on her own. So that space of mother, womb, head, all of it all together in one in regards to that reconnection. Because if you don't know something, you won't know it. So when you speak to it in a practical sense, we have a reclamation space of our identity that was in crisis, and we can be able to speak to it in a way that our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren can come up in traditions that are natural to them versus conformist spaces that you might find some semblance of, but it's not really you.
Right.
So,
right. Well, so that's the only thing that I do promote, the spiritualism, because it's creedless. It don't have no religious obligations, right? You could be a Catholic, you could be Muslim, you could be whatever, but you have to acknowledge the fact that your direct lineage is the most important to you, right? Because they have your best interests. You have memories with them, so that there are things that they can identify from the other side with you that only you and them knew, so that you can be clear that this ain't a demon, as they be saying, oh, the demon. No. I had this experience with me and this person. That demon wasn't around for them to know that this and this happened. And so now when that confirmation comes through, I can be sure that there's something other than myself observing my day-to-day comings and goings. And the spiritualism, so to compound on what you're talking about, I have a goddaughter who didn't know who she was. She was, she was raised by, she had a mother that adopted her. She never knew who her mother was. And we did some things, and some people saw her on Facebook and they reached out and was like, yo, we your family. And now she has connections to things that were cut off or dead ends that came to her, that now these these ways are open. And that came by way of her just putting a glass of water up for those so that she didn't know their name, right? For them, because they all have the memory. They still dwell within themselves, and so it's important for this glass of water campaign that we be on the glasses up thing, because with the glasses up, you can pray for those people and help them have some resolve and resignation in their existence, right? So that, it ain't really cool to talk about the bad things that somebody that's dead did. You know what I'm saying? That's not for us to judge. That's for the creator and the judge and the executioner to exhibit. It ain't for us. So it's in our best interest to speak about the good things that they did so that we can lift them up. So this is why, we have a history that a lot of young people don't really truly understand the dynamics of. So this is why old Black folks, they didn't talk about the bad that folks did. You feel me? Because we ain't gonna dwell on that. We're gonna talk about the good parts, the parts that God shined through the person, right? And it's not without context. So that conversation is not to be had over the dinner table. It's had in the back room when you get enough wisdom and you have enough civility that they will let you in on the family secrets. And so that that you be responsible to hold those things and not use them against certain family members. That's the responsibility of that. And so it becomes important, to just set aside some space in your home and delegate that to the vestige of spirit outside of yourself, right? And then the time that you take to erect it and maintain it. And so these become the two most important sacrifices that one would make. It's more important than the blood or the flowers or the food is the time and space that one allots to said altar, to one's mother, one's grandmother, to one's dead partner, whoever. The time and the space that you allot, because these are two forces that you can freely give, but you don't have control over. You don't control time and you don't control space, but you can give them freely to your grandmother, to your dead sibling, to your dead partner, to your dead friend, and give them a space so that they're not forgotten. So now we're back to that memory thing, right? And talking about the superiority of our ancestors and their ability to memorize things. And so it's important that we don't forget them, because nobody wants to be forgotten. That is the truth. Everybody does all of this stuff to not be forgotten. They catch the they catch the football and they shoot the basketball and hit the baseball and they box and they paint and they sing and they dance and they work so that they're not forgotten. And so it is a travesty for us to have a generation of people that if I was to stop them and I'm like, yo, what's your great grandmother's name? And they're like, Nana, or they don't have no clue where they come from, not even the origins, right? So I can't even say that I've done the due diligence. I got a godson / cousin that he been doing the research, and I found out about 3 different more states that my people come from, where I was just like, oh yeah, they come from South Carolina, and now I'm like, no, they also come. Then they were some from Louisiana, some from Alabama, right? Some from Virginia. So in reclaiming these names and saying these people and them not being forgotten, I allow them to activate into my future, right? And so they manifest as other means of opportunity and bliss, right? So that their existence, albeit if it was oppressed or not, it wasn't in vain. They went through that and held on and allowed themselves to still have love, right? Because we never talk about the fact that the slaves was making love, right? They were sneaking off and into circumstances. So with that, their existence should not be in vain because they endured all of that for us to have this future. So it would be a travesty for me not to acknowledge them and to commemorate them for all that they've done for me to exist here, to be talking to you right now. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, we have a saying, the way the turtle walks is Maleo, right? And the turtle is gonna get there. That don't mean slow. He just take his time, right? So, you know, there's a lot of people that they'll listen to this and then they'll take what I say and they go remixing on their little podcasts and shit like that. Timestamp. Feel me? This ain't hyperbole. This is the truth. You feel me? It got a day and a time and a minute that it came out. So if I hear you saying it afterwards, you know where the you know what I mean? All roads lead to Brigham Young. Feel me? You did. But definitely the idea of the spiritualism, that's the one thing that I promote to Black people because it doesn't require you a culture shock. It requires you to do the reclamation. And in the reclamation of your ancestry, you will find the philosophy and the theology that they were really, truly engaged in. And then it will make sense to you then, right? And then you can, I mean, you're just going to just be African. There's 54 countries in them. What the fuck are you? And there's way more tribes. So what are you? We are a hybrid, right? That is made up of a culmination of different DNA under different circumstances, right? And the one thing that was maintained is our sense of ability of what they would like to call witchcraft. And we've maintained it. So there's no sense in us arguing about being in a book, arguing about some real estate that don't got nothing to do with us and don't grow nothing. Feel me? I ain't fit to argue with them motherfuckers about the real estate, man. I mean, just keep moving and go find some place that you don't want to be. You understand? So until we and you know the other thing is, so I was having this conversation with my brother today. It's very, very important that we as African Americans understand the nuances and the differences that separate us from our brothers and other brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Have no day of jubilee. Our ancestors are still stuck in the same cycle. Now, let me explain. In the Caribbean, they have a day of emancipation, and that day of emancipation is marked by their carnival. And in them having the carnival, the people are stomping on the same ground that those ancestors are buried in. And they're stomping in bliss and in jubilee. And it alerts those bones beneath their feet that their existence was not in vain. As African Americans, we do not share a day of emancipation amongst us, that we perform carnival in honor of our ancestors to stomp on the ground that they're buried in, to wake them up to understand that their existence and their suffering was not in vain. And this is what separates us from the people from the other diasporic places, is because they acknowledge their ancestry in jubilee, even if it's only perceivable, but they still honor their ancestors with the reciprocation of understanding that their suffering was not for nothing. And so we have to come to some sort of consensus. And this is why the spiritualism becomes important, because in reclamation of the spiritualism, you begin to reclaim some of your family customs. and these customs should not have anything to do with whatever religion that you have pledged allegiance to. So if the religion that you pledge allegiance to is not in concert with you worshiping your ancestors, but is telling you to worship another deity before them, then it's probably not for you. Because in the Orisha traditions, the only thing that we can do before we get to the deities is to deal with the dead. We have to deal with them first. They are the only thing that can stop us from talking to deity and then to God. And so if you are in a religious tradition that tells you that honoring the people that come before you is blasphemy, that probably is not your religion. Feel me? So I'm gonna get on out of here. Knowledge. Feel me?
I ain't heard it. I ain't heard it written nowhere like that. I heard it interpreted like that, but I ain't heard it written nowhere like that. You know what I'm saying? They remixing, stuff. I heard honor thy mother and thy father, and I heard paradise is at the feet of our mothers. None of you truly believe until you want for your brother what you want for yourself. That's all stuff I could jive with. You see what I'm saying?
So,
okay.
Yeah, so if you're telling me that you can't set up an altar for your mama because it's against your religious beliefs, then there's a problem with your religion. Right? Because Jesus, Muhammad, Abraham, said altar, if you believe they lived and died, they are ancestors now. They are dead.
That's it.
Feel me?
And if you beseeching them and calling their name, you venerating them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so I use. All right, cool. But yeah, I appreciate.
And this is the resort. This is the resort of the universe. This is where. This is. You know what I'm saying? This is the South by Southwest of the universe. This is where it's all happening at. It's the only place where you get to do all these different things. Stop listening. Yeah, they be telling you trapped here and all this bullshit. You go ahead and leave if you want to be and told what to do, and you ain't got no choices. I can decide to stay, get high, do whatever I want to do. Got time runs out. But don't be telling me nothing about those, because you suffering. You better stop your suffering, or I want a do-over. You understand? If you're in that type of suffering, then you deserve a do-over. Then you should try your luck. Other than that, you better be living. You heard? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not looking for death. My mama dead, my daddy dead. I know what that shit look like. You know what I'm saying? I got shit to do. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try my luck while I'm here. Feel me? Real talk. I might have some experiences. I might have something to talk about when I get, but you know what I mean? Nah, I ain't waiting around for no death, embracing death. I'm out of here with that crazy shit. Feel me? I ain't looking for nobody from the sky. I ain't looking for nobody in the middle of the earth. You know what I'm saying? It's all right here. Word. Yeah. But I'm gonna get out of here, Knowledge, man. I love you, man.
Love you too.
Everybody to new to your moms, man. May that lady, you know what I'm saying, walk in the light and always be present and virile to assist you in this world. That's the real deal. Ain't no such thing as rest in peace, man. You better be up there campaigning for me.
Where's Bob?
Yeah. So that lady was, you know what I'm saying? She was about it in this world, so she about it in the other. So know that every time you know what I'm saying, light her up, you know what I'm saying, your material bill is taken care of with the gratuity and all that. Feel me? All right. But yo, I'm out, Knowledge.
All right.
I love you.
I love you.
without struggle. And only the strong survive. What I mean, Mama Yokota. What I mean, Iya Yokota. What I mean, Mama Yokota. What I mean, Iya Yokota. What I mean, Mama Yokota. What I mean, Iya Yokota. What I mean, Mama Yokota. What I mean, Iya Yokota. Booty bam 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 hoy. I put my mother first, cause her love brings me joy, yeah. Wada me, Mama Yoko da. Mama please feed me, send me on your lap. Iya me ayagba, she wears the crown. She not bow for nothing, she always holds me down, yeah. Iya me, Iya Yoko da. You only have one, respect your mother. What I mean, Mama Yokota. What I mean, Iya Yokota. What I mean, Mama Yokota. What I mean, Iya Yokota. What I mean, Mama Yokota. What I mean, Iya Yokota. What I mean, Mama Yokota. What I mean, Iya Yokota. Don't forget to love and hug your mom.
Okay, it's your mother. I'm just calling, checking to see if you got home safe, son. Give me a call so I won't worry. Love you. Bye.
I woke up out of a good night's sleep and slipped right into a daydream that may seem like a lifetime. Then the night rewind to this light shine upon my face as I awake to daydreaming to chase demons way to the evening till I'm sleeping. Then I awake freezing, I start screaming. It's late, sharp breathing, my heart still beating. Running through the pocket patch, thunderclap, lightning, rain, rivers running from the gaps, valleys, plains, hills, cornfields, the sun and path, running back above the map. Is this sleep deprivation, or am I on deep medication? Am I meditating till I'm asleep, but I keep awakening? I'm searching for the requiem inside my mind's aquariums, trying to break free from this lucid entrapment, using music as my blueprint for magic, my inception to my insurrection for madness. Blessed be priest message, each record's a classic. Pray there's no wreckage when her spirit exit the casket. I called her mommy till she's wrapped like a mummy. My first spaceship was her tummy. I ate what she ate when I'm hungry. Humbled, my arms crumbled as the grapes was taken from me. I shook like a quake, her spirit lift like a ship from a lake. Comfortably, when they come for me, I'ma embrace the entire space, the sun and sea. Then shout, Mom, you did great. Wonderfully, I came from the thunder inside your belly, healthy with 1 or 2 teeth. You taught me to speak, then God told me to preach, and gave me a sword for his head. I'ma take hold of the beast. Soon as your soul release, I'ma let go of peace. Now I'm ready for the war that was shown to me. I'm the devil's hunter, that's the spirit I'm under. I'ma chase you to nightfall, to the sun up, to break the chains of asunder. I have insomnia, on my way to the Andromeda. Study the planets like an astronomer.
Interstellar, I'm telling with the elders from South America. I'm 51 and I'm familiar with that area. I'm with the healers when I wrote Rocket to Nebula. My veins are filled with the ancestors' blood, and I'm a replica of the messenger. When it rains, it's just a flood to cover the plains from something high-tech above. The unexplained, the sun is my main. I'm unreachable, untamed, unspeakable, unchanged. I remain the same. Only see growth through my deep quotes. Tell Thoth I'm in deep thought. I could break a bill if they free range. My mother's initials on God's keychain. Stormbills, cornfields, chasing up the Laurel Hill. I'll get at the sworn deals, born skills. Wintertime, warm meals. My mother's gone, I'm on still. Waking up the morning chills. Peer to a dimension, fillers to filters. Of spirits for healers. To becoming wireless into splitters. To deliver. You begin losing signal, they're little. Into crystals. In the middle. Behind the moon's gateway. In the shape of an egg. No more naysayers as you're going through the lunar haze. Face plates. Infinity in the 8 shaped. The time is wintry, you see the gray 8. Then turn to the grave and say, where's your debate? For this is fate. I start unplugging, debugging. Before my transition, make man see woman. Then plant myself into the seed before the bee coming. I'm still in the cornfield running. Interstellar, Cinderella, said Cinderfella. I transcend from the nebula. This is the end of an era. I wish you good luck in all your endeavors. Release the pressure, the depressor. Then read the letters. Encounter us without seeing a body, like you emailed us. Delightful that it's not when you contact us, it's when we write you back. I used to watch continents fall just by my chi energy alone. I never used stone. I destroy cities by using cotton balls and big pillars of silken clouds. I watched their towers go down like a comet hit their walls, then smash their buildings with fog. That is all. The post verse. Trying to phone home, picking up ETs on the main line. After I crash, I'm experiencing amnesia and deja vu at the same time. And an unexpected close encounter of the 5th kind. The Akashic Records, Book of Revelations, we experience the 6th sign. What the prophets predict, shift paradigms. Do we believe in the tarots or their minds? The man that travels through the shadows till he shines. Factual, they don't attack you, they attack the genes. My black queen took the vaccine. They blaspheme, ask Tutankhamun, they get curses when you unmask kings. Martin Luther and his one last dream. Riding bikes, climbing heights, whiny heights, flying kites, lighting pipes, mine sights, driving pipes, find a blinding light, road at night, motorbike, roller coaster sight, closer bright, poltergeist.
Okay, it's your mother. I'm just calling, checking to see if you got home safe, son. Give me a call so I won't worry. Love you. Bye.
Message saved.
I miss you, mommy, kiss you, golly. Christian body, flying disc, reminisce of Garvey. Surrounded by the elders, probably. Then I sit with Gandhi. Mahalia, the whalers with Marley. Afro beats, a supernatural priest. Carry the sword of the Lord, clash with the beast. After me, there's casualties, catastrophes, disaster, drastically. I write along passionately, microphone mastery. Tribe known the Maccabees. They say I look like an Olmec. Books of the old text. African Bush or Kush or the Hoteps. After came a pharaoh who knew not Joseph. But kings reign the same apparel, same culture. Every time I rhyme, they add wings to my sculpture. Every line's a paradigm, prime supernova. The being feature holder. Elohim, see through dreams, out the rain, ride the streams like I'm Noah. Moses, I throw my staff, turn to cobra. Vipers fast, bite the staff, bite the soldiers. With this microphone, I'm everlast, I'm Jehovah. The first to work, I'm never last, I'm the owner.
All of the things I'm talking, not the yeah. Try what you not do if you're not the fair. One man did they tell me to disappear, So come and help me, cause I don't pray, my man, I don't pray, come on man, I can't stay for one place, for God's sake, my day, take my pharaoh from you. They are talking shit, what them no get enemy. See you for what's a minute. I put up my eyes, ten shot, my eye, just good. I cry, offshore, but my dreadlock. Believe me, I don't pray, Muhammad, I don't pray. Commandment, I can't stand for one place, go say my bed. Come and teach me, only you can feel my best. Give me vitamins, we're gonna take these friends away. So
Letter. I should cut my ear off like Van Gogh. Stop performing at the Klan shows. Watch myself from the audience. Play piano with lit candles. I mean, I'll still perform, but the thrill is gone. I don't feel as strong, maybe cause the wheel is torn. I clutch in a ball cause I'm sick to my gut. Then I brushed off the dust, stood up like I was touched by healing palms. I picked up my shield and 3 rocks as I'm hearing psalms. Know ye not that ye are gods? And I've been blocked by bouncers, overlooked by the announcers. I'm in a stand with the fans, which told me many of my album was like a counselor. They said songs like Then From Now, got them from then to now. Even deja vu, they said the old man was you. In a recurring nightmare, where you kept coming back around. I took a picture with him. Then he showed me a picture of his daughter in a cap and gown. He said he put her through college because your words stood up for knowledge. Said, to be honest, you like a prophet. I said, stop it. He said, what made you right before quarantine take us to Nebula in a rocket? I said it was just my journey to the planet of gods, my divine intervention. Just a mantra I said for the monsters in my head. Kept reliving, but we true and living. Like 3 supermen then, he said, who you kidding? That was a beautiful listening. Clan came on and music was hitting. The dead fourth chamber while I talked to strangers about his divorce and child support papers. Gotta restrain and caught for his anger. On the cross cause of haters. As Ghost finish up with the black suede while he dawn. They look around, I'm not on. They search backstage and I'm gone. Once finish the set, play the next song.
Nobody would remember. He hardly was a member. But the gods was his avengers. With the bars, always an inventor. From kindergarten to jobs at the center. From the mini-mart, parking cars for the winter. Kept a penny jar. What's the odds I get injured? Dreams of a football star was hindered. My lovers died, my brother's demise. My first son arrived in September. Virgo. No more pop locking like a turbo. Stopping in Stockton in my circles. Melanetza, love was eternal. Ancestors, embrace her. Sword in my dreams like Jacob. Wrestle with the devils before I wake up. Or was that an angel in flames who renamed you? Kill a priest to join the Wu-Tang school. Say to them, oh son of man, now children go in the land. Now I'm on send them 5 deadly venoms.
Freak out, yo!
Yeah, man. Man, say what up.
Huh?
Say what up.
Say what?
Say what's up. Man, you look like grandma.
Oh, you looking at me now?
From the darkness came in the light. Best I'm from Gateside. I was born in Bushwick. My upbringing is in Best-Style. And a lot of MCs came through my block. A lot. Big Daddy came, Jay-Z, Jazzo, and a lot of them came. My block was like a haven for that. I'm a fan of rap and art of it. So just being that, just being a fan of it, make me want to push push a little harder. You know what I'm saying? I had a mixture of gods and Hebrew Israelites and Islam, you know, so it came from a lot of mixture. I kind of like had a lot of this energy that was in there, so it's like a different type of philosophies in there.
But they didn't give it when it came in, it's slick because it never was just set. It was like, you got a demo deal. So the demo deal, at first, and you stress out, like, damn, I got a demo deal. That's good. But just say deal. You know, once you hand in the songs, then you got the deal. So I handed in the song, but I wanted to hear, yo, the deal is yours.
And 3 of us formed the Maccabees out of that. And Hellraiser came, and then Timbo came. It was supposed to be all 5 of us, but it didn't work out. We got Black Market. We'll talk about that later.
It was my song. It was a song I called As I Die Slowly. So it was the same thing, and then we just called it America. It was the whole clan. So there's a song called As I Die Slowly. So I said, yo, I got the song. Because they would say, yo, we wanted something for AIDS. So I said, I got a song about AIDS, but it had to be all of it. It got to be the clan. So I said, America is dying slowly. And we just ran with it. RZA loved it.
To do the next video, they were just like, sorry, there's no more videos. No more nothing. We done. So after Heavy Mental, it was like, I was really like, man, I'm done with this, you know? So I was ready to go independent then. But then MCA called me with a check. View from Masada was about to be born. I met this producer that was in there. He kept asking me, I kept going to the studio, and it was like, yo, man, this cat keeps going to your studio session, you know, and he wanted to hit you with some beats. He was working there. He had dreads. It was Just Blaze. 4th Chamber, we in the studio. I'm over here with Jizza. Ghost and Ray is over there recording at the same time. And this dude, I just saw this dude in the middle of the circle, commanding it. I've never seen that done, especially with the clan. Like, nobody had did that. At that time, this cat was different. And that's when my first time encountering the cannabis. We met sword to sword, man.
The offering is all New York. When I came out here, it was like more of a, like behind the stained glass where it started at.
But then I started getting out, and then artists, I seen people wanted to work with me and things like that. So I was like, oh, yo, this is a little different. And other than the clan, like, we was doing it because we was keeping everything in the house. It was my first time out, so I started working with other artists. So
Four Horsemen came, the idea came from cannabis towards me. Can't speak for the rest of them. And then he told me to call Corrupt, gave me Corrupt number, and Raz. And me and Raz already had a relationship, it was cool. But the first one who brought that to my attention was cannabis. He was like, yo, we gotta start a group. I wanna do it's gonna be me, you, Raz, Kaz, and Corrupt.
It was just special to me. I started meeting people that I was fans of myself, and like DJ Pooh and all these guys, it was just dope. You know what I mean? I didn't know they was actually listening. I just thought we was making music, and it was right there. We was all celebrating right there, and that was it. Hip hop is here to stay, and I'm a part of it, so let's go.
It means a lot to me. This is all behind the stained glass. So when I first came out here, I moved out to Manhattan Beach, and I came to Topanga, which was a whole different world. This place, mountainy, it's the view from Masada, is the vision, is the vision.
Yo, peace and black power. It's your brother Knowledge from live. Do the Knowledge Radio. The place where knowledge is born. This is 3K. Think Tank. This is 3K. This is 3.
I swear that knowledge is on. It's where I swear that knowledge is on. It's where I swear that knowledge is on. It's where I swear that knowledge is on. Who ran, who ducked, who down, return fire. We're the warriors, the healers, enlighten us. I'm tired of the same old, that game old with an upgrade. I'm a sunbathe in the sun rays while my guns blaze and they complain. Level my level not attainable. My metal not malleable. I'm a man, didn't need that manual. Reparations is incalculable. Yeah, we want it in blood, dead in the begging, head in the beheading, metal to the meddling. Members is aggressive, getting to the Armageddon. Karma, seem calmer when it comes to retribution. Caliber, catalyst in my clips and I use them on traitors and haters and the ones that spread confusion. Cause the devil's playground wasn't built for our amusement. Meet me at the guard hour. In these strange days, you gon' need a strong counter. Spin like Beyblade. Impenetrable armor, Orient aura. This story, this saga get gory before it get calmer. Keep holding that revolutionary posture. 85 gon' dip and dodger, but when they get monster, they turn into MC Light, earrings, and become door knockers. I'm irate, they pirate the culture, send them to Davy Jones' locker. It's okay. Let them think that you lost it. Be patient, this type of thing you can't force it. Play possum, but nah, not know out the road. And they can't comprehend cause the language is coded. We plan ideas and we plan explosives. Make your pockets go from more bits to more bread. The portal done open, they can't close it. You ain't got a sideline, you can cause more risk. No set birth date, no Dorian Gray portraits. It's about to get ugly and these devils can't forfeit. Ancestral memory, so no, I won't forget. What we building is an impenetrable fortress for sure. Every show is just like a courtship, and my flow for sure tighter than your gal's corset. It's okay. We are the source, you can't outsource it. Even Spartans don't want no parts left. What do you know? Before you know it, 3,000 wild Africans at your doorstep. Meet me at the guard hour. In these strange days, you gon' need a strong counter. Spin like Beyblade. No, we will not cower while the rest they play safe. We will move with God's power. This is not for play. Honor my ancestors, play the Orient day. Peace to you, loved ones, stay dangerous and stay safe. AKAs and AKs coming to make their caves cave. Wreck the race like tape case, stay dangerous and stay safe.
Brothers just walk up on me, and they're just like, you know can just see the hunger in their eyes. Like as soon as you know what I mean? They was like, yo, you know, we a group, and we think that you would fuck with us, and you know, I'm telling you, like, we nice, and just give us a fucking chance type of shit, you know?
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them that in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? No more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the gritty.
And that motive is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.